Hello and welcome to Wednesday's Wellness Tip. I'm Julie Crane and thank you for joining me today. Now this week I am beginning a new series that will address the third cornerstone of optimal health. So cornerstone 1 is hydration. And we go through the importance of hydration and what we can do to properly hydrate our bodies in the series called How to Fix Headache, Brain Fog, Weight Gain, Insomnia, Gut Pain, and Joint Pain. So if you haven't had a chance to watch those, I would encourage you to do so. Cornerstone 2 for optimal health is sleep. The importance of sleep, because it is during that time that our body has a chance to restore and our brains have a chance to restore. So it is so important. So if you haven't had a chance to watch it, yes, indeed, there are 4 videos that talk about ready to get some Z's, let's sleep for success. So check those out. So now for the third cornerstone, we're going to be talking about nutrition. You know, there is a great deal of confusion and hype about nutrition, especially out in the marketplace today, where you can find that there are so many different fads that are being promoted, these fad diets, and, you know, which one's best and what to eat. And there's just so much misinformation too. So it can be really hard to know what to do to nutritionally support our bodies so that we can achieve optimal wellness. Having been around for a year or two, you know, I've been through most of those fad diets and made some of these other choices. You know, you don't eat fat, don't eat bananas, don't eat tomatoes. You know, it's all out there and it can get very confusing. But it is my hope that if we step back and start to learn a little bit more about nutrition and sharing this information, that you'll be able to gain knowledge and the motivation to implement some of these simple things into your life, just like I'm trying to do. And that together we can make better choices and we'll be able to experience improved health and we'll feel better and we'll have increased vitality and life force. Doesn't that sound awesome? Yeah. So, beginning with nutrition. You know, most of us don't have a lot of understanding about nutrition. Even in all of my nursing education, they really didn't teach a whole lot about nutrition. You know, so probably the most that many of us know is probably the food pyramid, and we haven't really thought about much other than that. And so I'd like us to really take a look at good nutrition and what does that mean. So nutrition is actually the study of all the interactions that occur between people and food. So it involves understanding what nutrients that our bodies need and what foods they can be found in, how our bodies actually use those nutrients, and the impact that it can have in our overall health. Did you know that there are over 40 nutrients that are essential to good health? Yes. And these nutrients are obtained through our diet. They cannot be made by our bodies, or they can't be made in large enough amounts for what is needed. So when these begin to miss out in our diets, that the potential for disease begins. So one of the past Surgeon Generals, if you remember C. Everett Koop, he said, 8 out of 10 of the top killers today are created in large part to what we eat or don't eat. I'm going to repeat that. Just think about that. 8 out of 10 of the top killers, the top diseases that kill people, are created due to a large part in regards to what we eat or don't eat. So one of the main reasons for all the disease that we have in our American modern society today is due to our food choices and the consuming of nutrient poor and processed foods. So to put it another way, the cause of most disease is poor nutrition. But the good part is that the answer to most disease and healing from it is balanced nutrition. So Nutrition provides basically three functions. So that's what these nutrients work for. So we have three functions. It's energy, they contribute to body structure, and they participate in regulation or chemical processes. So when we're talking about energy, energy is the ability for the body to work, for us to do work. Energy can be stored as chemical energy, or it can be used as the energy that you need right at the given moment. There are two types of energy. One is caloric energy, which comes from carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. And the second is a bioenergy, which comes from the actual breakdown of the food during digestion and absorption of the nutrients from the digestive system. So the second one, contribute to body structure. We're talking about nutrients help in the building and repairing of body tissues. They help build strong bones, providing proper structure to things like blood vessels, bones, ligaments, and other things within our body. Now, the third thing was regulation or participating in chemical processes. So the nutrients are needed and they help us absorb fat-soluble vitamins. They help in the synthesis of collagen. They also help in maintaining the homeostasis or the balance in the body. Now, each nutrient provides one or more of these functions. Could do all of them. But all nutrients are combined are needed for growth, for repair, for maintenance of the body, and to allow for reproduction. Food provides the energy the body needs to stay alive, to move, and to grow, and to heal. This energy keeps our heart pumping, keeps our lungs moving so we're breathing, and helps the body keep warm, among many other things. So when we look at nutrients, I want to understand that there are two basic types of nutrients. One are macronutrients, the other is micronutrients. Now, when we're talking about macronutrients, we're talking about the items that are on your plate. So like the chicken, the steak, cauliflower, corn, maybe, and the butter that's put on those delicious items. When we're talking about micronutrients, we're talking about things like vitamins, enzymes, minerals, phytonutrients, and probiotics. These are all contained within the macro, but they usually require a microscope to see. So again, when we look at macronutrients, we're going to keep it simple to the three food groups. And the three food groups are carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. So let's look at each one of those just for a moment individually. Now, carbohydrates are something that you hopefully eat every day. It includes fruits, vegetables, grains. Carbohydrates are defined as a food that is made up of sugars, starches, or cellulose. They are broken down in the body to perform different tasks, such as storing and providing energy, immune health, and reproductive energy. Now, the next group was fats. And oftentimes fats get a real bad rap, but they are a critical part of our diet, and they're a key component to good health. Dietary fats are essential to give the body energy, to support cell function, to protect the organs, to keep the body warm, to help the body absorb more nutrients, and to produce important hormones. So they are very important to include fats in your diet. Now, the next is proteins. And oftentimes when we think of proteins, we think of beef, poultry, fish, eggs. But proteins are also found in nuts, beans, whey, dairy products, and trace amounts of proteins in many other foods. Now, proteins also perform critical functions that keep us alive and well. They participate in hormone secretion, metabolic processes, forming body structures, immune function, regulating mineral storage and use, transporting nutrients to cells, regulating our heartbeats, and they are actually the gatekeeper for what enters and exits individual cells. So again, very important functions. Now when we talk, so those are our macronutrients, carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. So let's take a quick look at our micronutrients. So again, these are the vitamins, minerals, enzymes, phytonutrients, and probiotics that are contained within the macros or within the food. So vitamins are natural, essential nutrients. They're required in small quantities, but they play a major role in growth and development, repair and healing of wounds, maintaining healthy bones and tissues, proper functioning of an immune system, and many other biological functions. There are actually how many types of vitamins? Anybody have an idea? There are 13 different types of vitamins, and all of these are required for metabolic processes. Now, vitamins cannot be synthesized by our body. We need to get them from our food that we consume or through supplements in order to stay healthy. And when we look at these vitamins, we want to understand that there are two different types. There is the fat-soluble vitamin, and there is a water-soluble vitamin. So we'll go into more details about that later. Next is minerals. Minerals are natural occurring inorganic substances. They are essential and required by the human body in order to function correctly. We obtain minerals through eating our foods that are rich in minerals. And like vitamins, we don't produce these compounds in our body. So hence we need to get them from the different sources like foods or supplements. Now the human body requires varying amounts of minerals each day in order to build strong bones, for muscles to be able to contract, for nerves to function, for the formation of red blood cells, for proper brain functions, for blood pressure and blood volume, for wound healing, and for many other bodily functions. Now, when we think about minerals, they also come in basically two broad categories, micro and macro. Yeah, just like the nutrients are micro and macro, same with minerals, micro and macro. So micro minerals are also known as trace minerals. So you may have heard that term before. These are typically needed in small amounts. Now macro minerals are typically needed in large amounts. Both are essential for metabolism and proper functioning of the human body. Now I mentioned at the beginning that one of the main reasons for all the disease that we currently have in our modern society is due to our food choices and the consuming of processed and low nutrient quality foods, right? Well, the second reason for increased disease that they've noted is the depletion of enzymes in our food. So you might be thinking, well, what is an enzyme? Well, enzymes are small protein molecules that are found in food, both in plant and animal. They make it possible for the chemical reactions needed that digest our food and break it down into the nutrients that the body can absorb and use. So without the enzymes, our body's not able to break down foods and actually get to those nutrients. Enzymes are the life force that's found in foods, and that life force gets transferred to our bodies to keep our systems functioning optimally. Now the body actually comes pre-packaged with a limited supply of enzymes, and it can vary greatly as to when those enzymes run out. We'll talk more about that later. But in addition to digestion, enzymes are needed to perform thousands of functions, releasing of hormones, tissue repair, and improving immune functions, and more. So they are very important. The next thing I want to just briefly talk about is phytonutrients. There has been recent mass amount of research reporting these new compounds called phytonutrients. Well, in reality, they're not really new compounds. They've always been available in plants, but we're just discovering them. And what we're finding is that they can significantly help the body prevent and even cure disease. So again, these are called phytonutrients, but they're neither a vegetable nor a mineral. They are actually bacteria. So plants naturally produce phytonutrients, which protect the plant from viruses, bacteria, fungi, predators, and the sun's harmful effects. Now, studies from all over the world have been done, and they irrefutably prove, that these compounds actually provide the same health benefits and protection to the people that consume them. Yes, that's great news. Remember what it was? Protect against virus, bacteria, fungi, predators, and the sun's harmful effects. So we can get those effects too when we partake of those plants that have phytonutrients in them. Now, the last one I want to talk about today is probiotics. Now, probiotics are living organisms. They're known as bacteria or flora, so you've probably heard the term gut flora. These colonize and flourish in a healthy intestine, and that's what we want. And what they are able to do then is allow for proper function of the intestinal tract. They are vital to our health. They detoxify and suppress pathogens, and they are involved in many conditions that affect mood, especially anxiety and depression. Isn't that interesting? So simply said, there is a bacteria that can make you feel good, and there is bacteria that can make you feel bad. So if you're experiencing anxiety or depression, you're going to want to learn more about probiotics. So this was just a quick overview to start us off, get you excited about thinking about nutrition. And over the next several weeks, we're going to kind of go back through each of these topics to go more into depth. And you'll be able to learn what is the chemical composition of each of these, how are they broken down and used by the body, how can we ensure that we have enough of these essential nutrients, and what actually happens in the body when there's not adequate amounts available. That's kind of a tongue twister. Anyway, I want to invite you to join me to go into a deeper dive. Our next video will take us into a deep dive on carbohydrates. So thank you for joining me, and we'll see you next time. Bye.